I find that a lot of people aren't fighting for their relationship anymore. They think there's something better around the corner instead of working it out with their partner. Dating apps have taught us that we have endless options out here. If it doesn't work with plan A, I'm going to get back on the dating app and I'm going to go to plan B, C, all the way to Z. Now, disclaimer, y'all, this video is not for anybody who might be in an abusive relationship. My only advice to you would be to move on as safely as you possibly can. There is nothing to save if somebody is mentally abusing you, physically abusing you, and cheating on you repeatedly. Move on. I am talking to people who are in relationships, may have hit a part of their relationship that may have gone stagnant, or the communication is off. There's something going on to where you guys were so close, so connected, to now you're not even really recognizing that other person. You want the relationship. Both of you want the relationship, right? Because you can't save a relationship where somebody has already checked out, unless you're going to try to hold that person hostage in your house. A lot of times relationships don't end in this big dramatic fashion like we see in the movies. I'm out. Oh, I'm done. A lot of times relationships may have a slow decline until it's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm done. Now, I've been there a few times, and making a choice to end a relationship is never an easy choice. I was married many years. All of my sons are adults now. When I decided to leave that marriage, I will say that I tried to save the marriage, but I'll be very honest, I didn't try too hard. They say that you take a cheating spouse back if you gave it your all, like if you were in the marriage. The way I uncovered everything was too much for me to bear, and so I checked out. I was probably going to slowly poison him over days and years. It was best for me to exit left. I went through just a very toxic marriage for many years, narcissistic, gaslighting, all those things. I have other videos. Please, y'all, check out the other videos where I really detail that relationship and how I was able to overcome it. But it took years, many years. So if you are on the cusp of ending your relationship, and you have decided, or a matter of fact, let me just say, you have chosen to save your relationship. Relationships go from good to not so good to bad, and then we're over. It really does boil down to we're not speaking the same language. Just imagine this scenario, because maybe this can resonate with you, and to see if you could do something about it. We bring up an issue. If you don't know how to correctly bring up that issue, then please learn how. Because how you bring it up and how you approach the other person matters. You bring up an issue and you go to your partner and say, XYZ is bothering me. Your partner then becomes very defensive. They put up their shell around them and they say, I didn't do that. No, well, shoot, if you're going to complain about this, then I'm going to complain about why. So you don't like my clothes on the floor, then I don't like your makeup in the sink. Next thing you know you're doing is the two of you are tackling each other instead of tackling the issue. This more so happens when both people are bringing up issues at the same time. So how do we get around this? Because this is a very common thing. And honestly, this is one of the number one reasons why relationships start going downhill, because it is communication. We're not hearing each other. I'm hearing you complain, I'm hearing you complain, but we're not hearing how to address the complaint. How is that helping the relationship? It's not. Now, how can you address this? One, when you have something to bring up to your partner, please always make sure it's the proper time and place. You do not have to bring up anything to your partner just because something has happened. I need you to process it, because what are you going to be saying? How are you feeling about whatever happened? I want you to sit and think on it before you open your mouth, because a lot of times we become very reactionary. We don't think on our response, we just do it. It could be a very knee-jerk reaction. Then you're going to bring that up to your partner. Again, proper time, proper place. It's not while your partner is doing something important. It's not while they're working. It's not while they're watching their favorite football game or their favorite volleyball game. You can even schedule a discussion. Babe, I really want to talk to you about something. How about we have dinner tonight? So that this person is going to be prepared to receive whatever message that you have. If the energy is off, when I say if the energy is off, I'm a big, huge proponent of masculine and feminine energy, as well as manifesting as the way we believe. How you feel about yourself, how you feel about whatever's going on is going to show up in your conversation, and it's going to show up in your demeanor. Now, if you are on the receiving end of that feedback, this is not the time to defend your case. You are not in court. You do not have a briefcase. You are not going to battle. This is the time for you to just sit there and listen to how XYZ made your partner feel. This is not the time to say, well, shoot, if you feel like this and I feel like that. Both of you cannot be up here addressing an issue at the same time. It will never work. We do it all the time to the point to where we just walk away. If you're the one who's communicating, you're trying to communicate the grievances, but then the other person is trying to defend their stance. But before they start speaking, because this is what I have to do with my partner, I say, before you start speaking and pleading your case, I need you to first just hear what I'm saying and how whatever XYZ made me feel. I even preface it with, I know you're not doing this intentionally to hurt me, so I'm not blaming you. I just want to be heard. And then I will give him the floor. And I try my best to not interrupt. I have to sit there and listen to what he says. Now, if you are on the receiving end of this information and now it is your turn to talk, I cannot encourage you enough to just listen to what your partner just said. Remember, we are tackling the issue. If you have an issue with XYZ with your partner, this is not the time to bring it up. Why didn't you bring it up 5 months ago, 5 days ago? You had every opportunity to schedule a time to talk as well. So whoever brought up their issue, whatever their issue is, let's address the issue, because ultimately what we're trying to do is get back to having a healthy, happy, balanced relationship. We are partners in this. It is not you versus me. It is us versus the issue. The next thing that I would say, look, if you're feeling a certain type of way in your relationship, always look inward, not inward. Always look inward. If you're focusing on constantly changing your person, in order for you to change, you're waiting for them to change. It will never happen. You cannot change because somebody else is changing. What if they never change? Do you never change? So then the relationship never improves. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe everything is you pushed out. So if your energy is off, you're feeling very insecure about something, if you want to ask your partner something, but you don't know how to ask them, you don't want to bring it up, you don't want to start another fight. And so therefore you hold on to everything. And then it's coming out in your energy and your attitude. And next thing you know, your partner is on the receiving end of that energy and attitude. Even though you're not intentionally bringing it out, it's coming out because we attract what we are. So if you're feeling a certain type of way, your partner will absolutely feel that energy, and then you're going to start receiving it. I saw this video. If y'all know the reel that I'm talking about, please leave me a comment in the description below. I loved how he worded it. I played it over and over and over again. He said that he had a little bit of money, right? He bought a young lady a car, and he was in the living room, whatever, writing the title out with her name on it. But he had a few titles on the table. And so she looked over and thought that he had bought a few women a car. Yeah, girl. Okay, yeah. Where are they handing out men that's buying us cars? I don't know, but evidently they exist, okay? Believe it and you shall attract it. So she saw that and she then said something. So are you buying somebody else a car? He said, no, silly. No, this is your title and my titles. He said, but one thing he respected was the fact that she saw something, she said something. She mentioned it. He said, because if not, she would have taken that and it would internally turn into something like, ooh, I bet you he's doing XYZ. I bet you he's cheating. I bet you. Then internally, she would have become all emotional. And then that energy would have been so strong within her. She would have felt it, and to the point to where she created exactly what she felt. I loved how he said that, because that is 100% how manifesting works. If you believe there's a third party, if you believe there's this, if you believe there's issues, if you believe, and you feel into it and with your partner, you may actually create that scenario. Do not allow your feelings inside to just boil up to the point where you have now created a whole scenario in your head that now the universe has no choice but to present it to you. I know some people are going to be saying that, well, he cheated on me. Did I manifest that? Let me tell you, When I was married, I caught my ex-husband in a hotel with his so-called best friend. Yes, it was a woman. I remember when he first introduced me to her, I always felt funny about that relationship, and I'm not an insecure person, but I felt really odd about that relationship because I'm like, how do you have a female best friend and now you're married? I would always feel a certain type of way about it. You even would think like, I don't think it's right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Then a few years later, voila, catch them in a hotel. But did I manifest that? Possibly. Before you start focusing on your partner and their flaws and what they're not doing and how they're not serving you and how they're not serving this relationship, please look inside yourself first. Examine, why are you feeling a certain type of way about this? What can you do about it? You can absolutely believe positive things about your partner. My partner loves me. I am the best thing that has ever happened to my partner. We have a very strong and stable foundation. We love each other. He or she loves only me. Now, we can't control all of the thoughts that enter in our heads, but we absolutely can control the thoughts that we linger on. It is easier for us to believe negative news than it is for positive news. We live in a fear-based world. Everything is fear-based. Oh my goodness, I can't go out, so I better I better do this. I lock all my doors, lock all my windows. It's easier to believe that the apocalypse is right around the corner than it is for you to believe that you can win a whole beauty contest. If you are the feminine entity in the relationship and you're in a relationship with the masculine entity, are you showing up to be feminine? Relationships are about balance. Or are you showing up to be more masculine than feminine? Are you pulling into your nurturing side, your loving side, your motivational side, your influential side? Are you, or are you showing up with your own dick to the table? Are you sword fighting in your relationship? Are you competing against your partner? And before you can be like, well, he ain't showing up as a man, he not doing this. Again, if you constantly focus on what somebody else is doing or not doing, your relationship will never change. You will never be able to save this relationship. You have to focus on only you because you're the only person in the relationship you can control. But if you want to save your relationship, then you have to focus on balancing your energies. What does your partner need? Are you fulfilling those needs? Are you? You have to do relationship check-ins. If your partner is never bringing issues to you, trust and believe they have issues. They're not thinking, making my way downtown. They're not just clueless. There's issues. If they're not bringing it up, create that environment to where they're bringing it up. Maybe you can ask some questions. You may not like the answer, but you better be ready to receive it. They have plenty of games that you can play with your partner, and it's just a question answer. It's not a hypothetical question like, what would you do if I won $1,000,000? And no, don't ask those superficial questions. They're not going to get to the root of what's going on in your relationship. Remember, the goal is to bridge the gap, not to sink the ship. If you've done everything that you possibly can to save your relationship, you've done all this, you've worked on your communication. I mean, you've worked on it. And I don't mean having a conversation. I can go to Safeway and have a conversation with the bagger. I'm talking about working on your communication. A lot of times we don't know something's wrong with our communication until there's an issue in the relationship. Communicating also includes listening. This means working on your confidence, how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, and ensuring that energy comes out in the things that you do. You're showing up from a good place. You are working on yourself and creating a healthy environment inside. You've done all that. You've now also have had open conversations with your partner to encourage hey, communicate, tell me what's going on. You've done all these things to save your relationship or to create a healthy relationship, and it's still not working. And I mean, give it time, right? Be consistent. Consistently show up, give it time. But it's still not working, then you have to evaluate your own relationship. And a lot of times when I do this, y'all, I just sit in silence. I thoroughly go inside and I ask myself a bunch of why do I feel like this? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I just have a bunch of conversations with myself. I may journal, but either way, I have to think about things by myself without getting influence from my girlfriends or anything. Nothing. My girlfriends will sit here and tell you what I will not discuss all of my relationship problems with my girlfriends. Nope. I will not, because I don't want outside input. And plus, I do believe in the power of the tongue. If I'm constantly talking about problems, I'm just going to continue to attract them. So I do not constantly talk about my problems. And so what do we do with our girlfriends? We talk about our problems, right? I love my girlfriends. I trust my girlfriends, but it's not that I don't trust them or believe, don't want their input. I really believe in the power of the tongue. So I'm not going to continue to talk about a problem. I just want to figure out a solution. But in order to figure out a solution, I have to thoroughly analyze the problem. So I would first invite you to do that, analyze the problem. And after you've done all that, then figure out the solution. What's the solution? Only you know that. I cannot tell you your solution. It's your relationship. If you like this type of content, y'all, please consider subscribing. My name is Vee Mindful. I'm a relationship coach and published author. On this channel, y'all, we talk about everything related to relationships, particularly the masculine and the feminine imbalance, the attachment style issues, and especially the communication issues. These are the three things that's keeping us from typically having a healthy, balanced relationship. Until next week, y'all, because I just wrapped up my 7-day series. Now I'm going to go back to posting once or twice a week. I think I'm going to post twice a week. So I'll see y'all in a few days. Take care of yourself.